Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me on a Wednesday live show. So I know every week I talk about special guests. So because all my guests are special, what can I say? But today I have a coach, and I met Michael through iPad coaching program. Um, he he's been great, and I love him. um he's very motivated, and every time I talk about I put some nonprofit and some very high conscious level thing, he would comment on it, and I got really interested in learning, who is this guy? And I was reading his bio. So he's a coach. He coached men's basketball in a college, and he's a food truck owner, and he's also runs a nonprofit. He's a life coach. He is just such an amazing. He's a motivational speaker. So he does a lot of events. There's if you follow him on Facebook, you can find him on Unleash You, and it's just been amazing. So you guys need to meet this person. So I'm gonna bring him on right now. Hi, Michael.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm good. I'm so excited because I've been your follower. I've been your secret admirer for a very long time.
Thank you.
Because I love how you speak, how you motivate others, and yeah. So here, take the stage. Tell me
It's a
about who you
perfect
are.
timing. It's perfect timing for Secret Admirers on this week of Valentine's Day. So I appreciate that. Also, I'm glad to be join the club of special guests. That I'm special as well. I appreciate that.
Everyone is special to me.
Well, that
But
hurts.
you're
No,
special today.
dang, heartbreaking. But at least I'm part of them. So I'll take it. I'm part of the club.
Yeah.
I'm included. I really like how you include everyone because that's big for me that we don't single people out and make them feel isolated because that's a big part of people being able to perform at their highest level and create their best life is for them not to feel like they have to do it solo. Like we're all in this together. We can all do it together.
Yeah.
Like we're not competition with one another.
What inspired you to be a coach? Because you graduated from IPAC way before I did. So what inspired you to become a coach?
IPEC was one of the last places I went. I'm like an informational junkie, right? Like that's my addiction is now like personal development and growth and learning. I love learning about people. So I went to like 7 different places for coaching certificates. I'm like, I have a tree worth of paper with my name and initials on it that I hide somewhere in a closet because there's no point in hanging them. But I just love learning about how we can affect people in a positive way to get them to live the life they desire. So I absolutely love it. What got me into it? I'll say 2011. One of my best friends took his own life, and I realized at that point everything I said I was or wanted to be, other than a business guy, wasn't good. Like wasn't to the level it had to be because one of my good friends were going through this and I didn't even know. So it kind of changed the output of my life and where I was going to go and how I was going to be. And at that time, I learned a valuable lesson, which I wish I learned earlier, is that we design ourselves, right? Like when I was a punk of a kid, a young man. I designed that person. I designed them well. Like I was a great punk. I was good at it, right? Like I was scary good at it. Sometimes I'm like, man, why was I so good at that? But then after I found out I was having a daughter, and it was like, I don't want to be that anymore because I don't want her to see me, get her in jail. So I was like, all right, how am I going to change my life? And I designed a businessman. I grew a beard and I became a businessman. I was young. I wanted to look older. So I grew facial hair. Haven't shaved since. But I was a businessman. And then when my boy Carter passed, it was, all right, I designed that punk. I designed that businessman. It's time to design who I want to be that'll leave the impact I want to leave, that'll help others who I want to help people, and what kind of legacy am I going to leave for the ones behind me to remember and keep pushing. And that's how I got into the coaching space, even though now the coaching space scares the heck out of me a little bit. But that's how I got into it and got to this point. So it's been 9 years of a journey so far. And I will say I absolutely love the journey I'm on now.
I'm, thank you so much for sharing that, because it's not easy living through and experiencing a passing of someone close to us. So,
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your vulnerability.
Oh,
And the other thing is, I'm really curious, because I think a lot of people are stuck in that moment where they lost something. For you, it was your best friend. For someone else, it could be their job, their someone close, or anything that has to do with losing. We have a lot of trouble coping that. What was it like for you to realize that, with the passing of your best friend, that you realize, oh, something gotta be different. I gotta change, and instead of being a punk, this is who I'm
right.
gonna be.
It's funny. It wasn't, Carter was like the last straw, but really the losses. I had a weird life, so the losses piled up at different points in my life. I lost one of my brothers when I was 10. I lost my father when I was a teenager. Like I lost one of my good buddies in college. I lost a couple of good buddies last couple of years due to overdoses. So really, I started reframing the story I was telling myself. And I wasn't losing, but I was thankful for the time I had. I was thankful for the relationship I had. I was thankful that I had my brother for 10 years, rather than saying, why didn't I get the rest of this time with my brother? Reframe the story. And I was lucky to have him for 10 years. I was lucky to have my dad as long as I did. I was lucky to have the friends I had when I had the friends I needed to get me through what I had to get through. Right? Like I'm grateful for those opportunities, rather than why didn't I get more? That's that, right? The almost like the victim mentality, the why me mentality, rather than staying thankful. Like I'm thankful for this, the grateful mentality. And the grateful mentality pushes you forward, right? Because they say it's hard to be grateful and mad at the same time. I've never been like, I'm so happy and pissed, right? Like, no, right? I don't think that happens often. So it was being able to reframe and tell that different story to myself and reframe that thought and say how thankful I was for everything, because it was happening for me. Because if all these things didn't happen, that someone could say painful moments, right? Heavy losses. If those didn't happen, I wouldn't be who I am, right? And it kind of it's where I change. Everybody always says like your life is the story, right? Your life is your story, and I would say our life is how we react to our story. It's how we react to it. So you can react negatively, and I've done that, right? I was that punk. I reacted negatively. Or you can react in a way that's best for you, the people around you, the people you care for, and the people you lost. How are you remembering them and living for them?
Yeah.
And that kind of changed it for me.
There's so much power behind our self-talk, and that's one of my specialty. That's my specialty, actually.
Nice.
About the self-talk, we have power of self-talk. We can talk to ourselves negatively, or we can talk to ourselves, in a very affirmative way, or lifting and elevating and reframing, like you said. And I love how you said, being happily pissed, because I think I'm always happily pissed.
That's an intense emotion.
That's how we can relate to each other. I see that now.
Nope. Now peace, love, and happiness.
I noticed on your website it was about Unleash You. And how did you come up with that title, Unleash You? What does that mean?
So I firmly believe that there's not like some lucky lotto at birth that's like, you can do great things. You, not so much, right? Like, I don't care if you believe in trees, cosmic winds, dirt, God, whatever you call it, right? That's fine. I'm not here to tell anybody what to believe or not to believe. But I don't think whatever that is sitting there going, you're going to be special in life. It's going to be really good. Next person come up, your life's going to suck, man. Sorry. Next person, right? Like, I don't believe that's that way. I believe we all have greatness within us, right? We all have our masterpiece to create. It might not be with a paintbrush and canvas, but it's still a masterpiece and it's yours. So it's unleashing that society guidelines or restrictions, cultural restrictions, and just being able to unleash all that, take all those shackles off, and live your life, right? So it's unleash you. It's unleashing your greatness to the world, because we need it. That's how we move further. And then now, the best time, it's like the story about a tree. It's 20 years ago, and now is the best time to plant a tree. Well, the best time to unleash your greatness was 20 years ago or now. So it's unleash you now.
Or you could be sitting 20 years later and still thinking, well, gosh, I wish I had unleashed myself 20 years ago.
All right, I hope not, right? Because what is the biggest pain, regret?
Uh, and so through your whole, 7 different coaching program, what was your biggest takeaway with all these programs? Like, is someone who's going through this journey right now and they're into that, that addiction of self-development, what is your biggest
We're all
takeaway?
addicts. That they're all really good in certain areas. Like each one had, I can't, like everybody's like, oh, what was the worst? I'm like, they all had pros and cons, right? Like there's some amazing tools, right? Like I always say, like IPEC had some amazing tools. I was like, IPEC was the best tools that I got of any of the places. They had the greatest tools to use with individuals to get deeper into why we're reacting the way we react, right? Like I love human behavior and neuroscience is like my thing. So I love that. So that really gets me rolling. I'm a huge nerd with that. I can sit them all day and be extremely entertained, right? Just by seeing human behavior and why they're doing what they're doing. So I pick tools, amazing, right? John Maxwell was great at how to facilitate your own, right? Like lunch and learns or anything of that nature, right? They really go in on how to make sure people know who you are, what you do, and what you're capable of, and also making sure you know what you do, what you are, and what you're capable of, which is important too. So it was like, and you can go down the list. Like everyone had great points that they did that they're really like, that's their specialty. I also learned that none of them are all like that. It wasn't all encompassing. So like I would leave one, and this is why I kind of went down the road I went down with it, was I would leave one extremely pumped, right? Like, wow, we're going to do something great, right?
Yeah.
And then like for 2 weeks, I'd be rolling, right? Like, I'm like, whoo, like they've never seen me before, right? Like, and then like something would happen. I'm like, no, they didn't teach me this. Hold up. Like, what does this mean? Like LLC, what's that? Right? Like, and luckily I've had, luckily I've had businesses and have businesses now that made it where I knew some of the business side of it, but working with people that went through IPEC with me or around the same time, and they didn't have that. It was a lot of like, oh man, look at this, oh man. And then there's only so many of those we want to take and keep that same momentum going, right? Because whenever an obstacle hits and we didn't see it, and we're blindsided, that affects our belief, right? And then that affects what we believe our potential is, and then that affects what the action we take, and et cetera, et cetera. And the domino just keeps hitting, and then we hit another one. You're like, oh my god, like I'm so done with this, right? And like everybody has said before, it's like me with email servers. Like I'm just like, I am done with mass emails. Like I can't stand them.
Oh yeah.
Right, but I do it anyway. But it's we all have that point, and then I started going, how can we create something where you get everything, where you get the whole foundation built strong? So then when you leave and you hit that obstacle, you can go right through it and go, haha. Because when you do achieve something great, or you do hurdle, or you do get over an obstacle or get through one, your confidence then builds.
Yeah.
Ooh, I can do more, right? Yeah. Like I remember the first time I ever got in a fight and I didn't die. I was just like, I'm good at this, right? I didn't die from a fight. Right. And it was like, I wasn't good at it, but I didn't die. And it's when you learn you weren't fragile and you could get through something, you're like, oh man, I can do more. Like I can do bigger. Right. And it's the same with that in business and in life. The more you overcome and accomplish, the stronger belief you have in yourself, the more confidence you have in yourself, the more you're willing to do and try.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you're describing all this, because I feel like I need to connect you with my friend Becca. I hope she's watching. She's like totally into this improvement, and she has I'm sure she can resonate with that. So I need to connect you with my friend Becca.
Yeah, I love connecting with people.
Yeah. And what also come up for me is that you're such a punk. I'm
a huge punk.
You're a punk.
Definitely was.
I love, because the other day I was talking to someone, and, it's exactly what you described. Each program has its, advantage and disadvantage, and there's something that they're teaching you and something that they're not teaching you. And you run into the situation, well, I love this program, but I also love that program. So I see how you're incorporating everything and then you bundle it all together. You're 7 different coaching in a package in you.
Right. Right. It's right. Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is. So, but I have to have it in order to apply it. And when we're not getting that, especially people that you'll go through like one thing or nothing, like they'll read an online article about coaching and then they're a coach. My favorites.
Oh yeah.
Right. And they're like, no, now I'm a coach. Right. And that's one of the problems I have with the coaching space is there's like legitly nothing, like there's no kind of standard board, nothing that like you could literally just be like, no, it's me. I'm it. Oh, okay, cool. All right. All right. Like I'm the best basketball player you've ever seen. Like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Right. So unless you've never watched basketball, then I am. But it's the idea of rather than just having that false sense that's probably going to set up for disaster at some point, right? Let's be prepared for those hurdles that are coming. Those obstacles are coming. One of the things I always talk about, because I'm with you, self-talk, most important conversation you have every day is with yourself. But it's that mindset of sometimes I feel like if we recognize the obstacles that are going to come, that we're going to have obstacles, right? Like we're going to have lessons in life, right? And we're going to have losses, right? Like, and if we could prepare mentally, knowing these things are going to happen, right? How are we going to react to it? How are we built to withstand? Mm-hmm. And if we know we're built to withstand, then when it does happen, it's still going to affect us, but it won't set us off track as much or beat us down as much.
Yeah.
So it's be prepared.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Hey, so do you
still
call
have the punk mentality?
The punk mentality. Hey, that's a great title, actually.
Thank you. I'm good at copy.
You should write that down.
All right. I'm going to go back and play this later and be like, hold on, I said something.
Yeah, you did say something. You say a lot of things. Hey, so do you still have a food truck that you're running? Are you still driving around in town?
Oh, no, I don't drive it as much as I used to. But yeah, I still have a food truck, catering company. I have a landscape company, a property management company. We have a counseling agency, Suboxone Clinic, foundation, and Unleash You Now, a motivational, inspirational company.
Like, what else do you not do?
Right. Oh, and I coach. I'm assistant coach at college basketball.
So who do you typically work with, your clients?
All over the map.
Yeah.
So I work with different businesses. I work with different executives. And then I work with Joe Smo working at the store down the street that wants a better life. So I love what I do. People always say, how do you go, how you do what you do and how do you do it as long as you do and how you go all day. And I absolutely love what I do. I'm very lucky. I'm blessed that I get to say that and do that. And so the hours doesn't affect me. Like, I don't count them. I don't know how many I work because I don't consider it work. Unless I'm mowing lawns, then I'll tell you exactly how long I worked. Or if I'm in the food truck, I'll tell you how long I was in there because that thing gets hot. But doing this, I love it. People always make fun of me because I'll do 100, 200 sessions a year that are absolutely free, just because I feel like we're in a position to help, right? Like if we really want to help and you're in a position to do so, why aren't you? Mm-hmm. So I don't have to answer that. So I just help. I just do it.
I love it. And he's very active. So if you follow him on Facebook, you can see all his stream and now he's on TikTok. Last night I was checking him out on TikTok. He was with his group of, in the men basketball. And he was like doing his thing. It was amazing.
Thank you.
You guys need to follow him on TikTok.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Great story about TikTok. My daughter runs my TikTok account. She's my TikTok manager. Okay. And she tells me when I do good videos and when I do bad videos. I get a lot more bad videos. And she's very demanding. She's the most demanding person in my life when it comes to manager or position of people that make me move. She's very demanding in TikTok. I feel very stressed about TikTok. It's like the only thing that stresses me out anymore. I have to make a TikTok video today and it has to be good.
It sounds like my niece. She and my niece should connect because my niece is my TikTok manager. Like I would go to her and say, "Hey, how do you do this?" Because I she show up. So she's my manager TikTok.
Nice. I'm not even allowed to post. I just have to hand her the phone with the video on it, and she does the thumbnail, and she does and she does the all the hashtags you put on there, and she even doesn't even let me write the copy. I'm like, no, I'm good at writing copy. She's like, no, not for this. You're not. Okay.
Yeah, good choice.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess I didn't have one, but I'll take it.
So I noticed that you're doing a lot of like speaking engagement, and you do a lot of event. I see you on the event all the time. Like, tell me more about your speaking thing. Like, there's a speaking thing that you're working on. Tell me about that.
Right. All right. Oh, so Unleash You Now, we have our conference every year, right? And so when we made the conference, the idea was we had to battle for stages, right? Like I, getting stages is just it's a grind. It's tough to get stages. Repeatedly going and over and over and over again, and then there's so many people you don't know to trust or not trust in the booking world, right? So with Unleash You Now, we had a couple ideas. One was people are going to get the stage because they have a voice and a message that needs to be heard by many, and that's how they're going to get it. It's not just going to be a bunch of big names, so we sell a bunch of tickets. It's going to be people that really have strong impact and messages that need to be heard, and we believe they need to be heard, so they're going to get on the stage. That's one of the things about us is that we didn't want to be, it's not just about, it'll never just be about money. Yeah. If it was, we would do something different, right? So it's, if you ever want to see the most like not paid people, go to assistant basketball coaches, right? They're like the most, they don't get paid. They get meals here and there. And they're good meals. Right, yeah. You get fed here and there, so we know you can keep going. Like, all right, cool. But so if it was about money, I wouldn't do half the things I did. But it's about how can we really impact people? Who really needs to be on that stage talking and who really needs to be in that audience hearing it? And so the Unleash You Now event was built for that. It was not just big names. If you go back, there's over 24 speakers in there, and you might have heard of 5 of them, right? Yeah. And some of the ones you didn't heard of were amazing. I'll give anybody the tapes of those speakers just to see the impact in which they left there, and we'll leave with you when you see them. But another one of the things we want to do is that we believe everybody has a story. You have a story, I have a story. Everybody listening has a story, and everybody that's not listening, even though they're silly for not listening, they have a story, right? So we believe you have a voice, we'll help you find it, right? You have a story, we'll help you tell it, right? You have a purpose, we'll help you fulfill it, and you have a mission, and we'll help you complete it. Yeah. So then before the conference and after, we were like, all right, so there's people that have these stories to tell them, they really want to tell them, and they don't have the clarity of direction. They don't know how to find gigs or book gigs, right? So how can we help with that? Yeah. So like normal me style is I'm going to go above and beyond, right? Yeah. And that's just my style. Like I'm going to try to add so much value to something that'll make it impossible, right? And that's really what I want to say is like what we create is impossible and we make it possible because nothing's impossible, right? So we create a speaking course, and that speaking course, one of my favorite parts is you end in Columbia at a showcase, which I think I told you 17 times before we went on air.
I'm in.
All right. We go to Columbia for a showcase. It's going to be in front of like booking agents and event planners and things of that nature that literally use speakers at their events. But no longer you get a presentation. You get to learn how to make a presentation where you can sell, right? So you can make money from your own products while talking or your own business, right? Also just a forever presentation. So preparing for events are so much easier, right? You get interviews with booking agents. So you get to practice, plus they're real booking agents that you get to talk to that actually, if you're good and they like you, you can actually get straight gigs from it. We get you 2 gigs. We show you a system where you can find over 100 gigs within 60 miles of your house or residence. This is all over the world, not just in the United States. We worked with people in London a couple of weeks ago. So it's all these things are addressed, like the amount of value that's being passed on. Literally, it came to $12,000 worth of value when we broke each price down. Yeah, and you get it for like 2. So it's like we made it where it's a no-brainer. You make it where they can't say no, right? And so the speaking course is, I don't know how, I give AJ Vassar a whole bunch of credit because he's running the speaking course. Right? AJ Vassar is an amazing dude, right? And he's running the speaking course, and literally I sit back and I have no idea how he's going to do it because I don't know how you're going to do that kind of value and that kind of time for that little amount of cost. I'm going to be in awe of watching him. But the speaking course is awesome.
And I could be a testimonial for the amount of work that you have to put in to find your own speaking engagement. First, you have to understand what message you're talking about, like your story, you have to craft it. And then you have to find people who's willing to invite you as a speaker. And, just me learning how to do that, it took a lot of time and a lot of amount of time in putting it together.
Right.
I agree with you.
Dang right. I literally told someone, and it's funny, some speakers think, hey, no, I'm applying for a bunch of gigs, so I'll get one soon. I'm like, You're not even talking to someone. Like, everybody has an application process. They don't even look at most of them. Most of the spots are taken up by people they've already talked to and built a connection and relationship with. And I said my post earlier today was, you either learn it or earn it. But there's the only two ways you get it. So you either have to learn it so it saves you time, but normally costs money, or you earn it, which takes more time but saves you money, right? But one of those two things are going to happen for you to make it, right? And I was talking about, you can put that in the speaking business. It's like, I wish in 2011 someone was like, yo, Mike, let me tell you, you're doing this all wrong. Because it took me like 7 years to learn I was doing it all wrong. Right. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. Right. So now you see, people see the result now where, yeah, I get to speak at a couple conferences a year. We have our own, right. I get to speak at other venues and business associate meetings and things of that nature. But people didn't see the days at the Rotary Club with 10 people. People didn't see the days at the chamber with 15 people. Right. People didn't see the first time I put on an event in a hotel where like 3 people showed up. Right. Like, one was my mom, another one was my daughter. Right. Like, so it was like, I always say, a lot of times people miss the journey. They see the destination. They want the destination. Like, we all want the white sand and nice crystal clear water, but very few see what it took to get to that point. And that point, that's hard. Right. Like, so if we can help people along the way in the journey, and then, like I always say, we're not competing with each other. We have different stories.
Yeah.
We love helping. So we do it.
Yeah. I love it because, you know, something that I'm working on as well. I'm doing a public speaking training for all the women in the area. It's called Women's Speak. It's called Women's Speak Circle. So it's about teaching them how to craft their message. Because a lot of us, you know, we have story, but we don't know how to craft it. And like you said earlier, you know, the speaking course will actually help you design that message coming out with a strong message. Because we know we want to be a coach, we want to sell this, but how do we do that? How do we convey that message to people and showing up as being ourselves, right?
Right. Authentically us. Right.
And I think we need to talk because I like to go to Colombia.
Right. Let's do it. I'm in.
Where can I get that information?
I'm going. I'll send it to you. It's on my page and stuff too, but I'll send it to you.
Well, tell this.
Also, where you're on the West Coast? Where in the West Coast?
I'm on the West Coast. Would you like to come here and do a conference? I would. I'm down.
I might actually be speaking in San Francisco coming up, but where are you located on the West Coast? You don't tell me like exact area, but like
I'm in Los Angeles. So I'm about 20 minutes away from the center, downtown LA.
Oh, dang, nice.
Without traffic. With traffic, that's 2 hours.
Geez, good luck. I don't do well with traffic. It's hard to find it's hard to find the gift in traffic. I would have a real hard time. Like, I'm grateful for this traffic, so I get to listen to an audiobook, right? Like, something like that would have to really click for me. But you really need to connect with a woman named Rachel O'Rourke. She runs Sparks. Okay. And that's a West Coast thing. And it's all about women empowerment and women finding their voice. And she's amazing like you are. So I think you guys would align really well with one another and what you guys are trying to do. And you're both West Coast. So I am coming out to a conference West Coast, but it's all women. So I'm not allowed to go. So I'll just be sitting outside. But,
well, you could be my guest.
No, I'm not even allowed inside as a guest. I even tried to pretend to be the cameraman. I said I'd be the cameraman. They were like, no, there's no dudes inside. I was just like, thank you.
Yeah, there's something about women coming together. There's so much power. And you know, we like to harvest that feminine energy among ourselves rather than having the men to come in and interrupt that energy, that flow.
I understand. But there's some things that, especially if it's a space where people are trying to express themselves in certain ways, and whatever makes that more comfortable for that space, I think is a great thing. So they can start getting that, because, you know, the more you start getting something out, the easier it is to break it down, right? And to be able to grow through it. I completely understand. I'm not going to shave and put a wig on for the event. I'm just going to hear about it and hopefully get to see a video or something with some great speakers, because I hear their lineup is sick already, and they're still taking applicants. Okay. By the way, you see.
What's it called, Rachel?
Rachel O'Rourke, and the event is called Spark.
Spark. Got it.
And she actually came. You're welcome. See, I'm trying to add value. So when I came, I had to add some sort of value. It has nothing to do with me. It's just someone I might know, but I'll add it anyway. she actually came all the way over and spoke at our event, the Unleash You Now
Okay.
event, and literally just amazing. Tore it up. Was absolutely phenomenal. Very few people that spoke at the first one did I even think or talk about having come back. She was like the first person we asked to come back.
Wow.
So she's phenomenal. You guys are both on the same movement tip too. So I definitely see a lot of alignment there, and you guys will really enjoy each other. She's high energy too, so that's good.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a lot of people say that about me. The high energy.
I never understood. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm sure you can resonate with that. So tell us about your next step. Like besides the speaking course, what else is on your list?
Sure, the list. I'm always developing. We have like 8 courses through Unleash You now, so I'm always trying to develop and finite and make the courses more packed full of information and value that will really help. That's my big thing. Is I never want to do anything. You ever do like a webinar, not perform it, but watch one, and at the end you're like, I literally got nothing from this, right? Like I didn't learn a single thing other than I didn't like this webinar. Right? Or this wasn't helpful. Right? I never want to put anything out where someone's like, this did nothing for me. Right? Because that's like my biggest fear as someone that tries to contribute in the space is like, dude, you did nothing. But like years, right? Heartbroken. I spent years on this for nothing. No, it's like, so I'm always trying to, my hardest opponent is me, as it should be. So it's always trying to, hammer your craft, right? Like master your craft. I'm hammering my sword for battle. We're planning the Unleash You Now conference for 2020. It's going to be, everybody's talking about your vision. We're talking about how you're perfectly broken.
I love that
right?
topic.
Thank you.
Send me the website to apply. I need to apply.
All right, there you go. It was out. I'll share it with you again. Yeah,
yes,
I keep sharing it on Facebook, but I'll send you the link so you can apply. Perfectly Broken. It's after the Asian the great story where they took China, right? And it's funny here, China's like special like by itself, but everybody has it there, right? It's like, so when it breaks, right, they put the gold lining, and that's how they put it back together, and that's what makes it unique is the broken parts of it. And I was just like, this is amazing. Like, I love this story. Right. And I think if the more we recognize that, like how we broke and how we're broken is what makes us, what makes us our story, what makes us, feel what we feel and think what we think, and be able actually how we've kind of went the way we went. That's what makes us beautiful. Yeah. Right? Like that's what separates us. And we're all beautiful in our own right because we're all differently broken. Right. So that's why it was like Perfectly Broken seemed like a great idea this year.
It's a great topic. Yes, definitely send me the link. I would like to apply. I have a great story to tell.
Perfect. I love it. I'm excited.
All right. So Unleash You speaker conference, and it's going to be in Colombia. So we're heading to Colombia.
So, that's at the end of July, and that's in July and August. And then our conference is in DC, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, but I believe it's going to be DC this year.
I can go to DC
in October. Yeah, right. Nice airport. Right. Yeah. East Coast is all right.
It's awesome.
I'm an East Coast guy.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming. And it's so much fun talking to you. I can see your high energy that it's just amazing person.
You make people lift to your levels, which I appreciate. So your energy level radiates and makes us level up just to stay with you. So I appreciate that. You made me better already.
Oh, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining in. So check me out next week on Wednesday, 8 o'clock Pacific time. Again, live coffee talk. I will see you next week.